Well, why I decided to do this story, because I was in Thailand for 3 months for the assignment for the RFA, and I knew there are a lot of Vietnamese refugees in Thailand, and we've been doing stories about them all the time. But then one day I met this lady, and then she told me a story about herself, and then she said that other people have the same problem. I call her Ba. I don't know if she had another name or not. She's around 60 years old, and then she's from Saigon. She used to work for the South Vietnam government, and that was why she had a lot of problem with the current government. She felt like, it's not safe in Vietnam, and also she thought that, because she has some, the past with the South Vietnam government, it was not easy for her to find a good job and lead a decent life in Vietnam. So she ended up in Thailand, and then she was in the refugee camp in Thailand, and I remember it was late 1980s. She went to Thailand through the border with Cambodia, Vietnam, and then from there she went to Thailand. It took her a long time. She took a boat and then land border and all means of transportation. Back then we had many refugees in the region. The refugee camp in the region was very crowded, and they had to go through what they call a screening process, and if they don't pass it, they will have to be deported back to Vietnam. And she didn't pass the screening like many thousand people in that camp, and then she went back to Vietnam deported. She could not live in Vietnam. Life to her was in Vietnam was so hard. And so she decided, okay, I'll just try one more time. In 2011, she went back to Thailand. Right now, it's a little bit different from what she experienced in the past. Before she lived in the camp. Right now in Thailand, she doesn't have to live in the camp because she is considered as the refugee seeker. That means she is allowed to live in a rental house as many other Vietnamese refugee seekers in Thailand right now. So they gather and rented a place near Bangkok, a suburb of Bangkok. There were about 7 families lived there. Anyway, it's hard because the children cannot go to school because they are not refugee, they are not resident of Bangkok. They cannot go to school, and they are not allowed to work either. So if they don't have any support from overseas Vietnamese, from their own relative, then there's no means to live. So the landlord has a garden, abandoned garden at the back of the house. They grow some vegetable and they raise some duck and chicken, and they said that that's their food. They don't have to spend too much money on vegetable. The thing is, it's kind of limbo situation right now. They don't know when. I asked her, do you know when you can get the answer? She says, I don't know. I don't know what happened in the future, and I don't have any choice now. I cannot go back to Vietnam, because I go back to Vietnam, I'll be arrested. But I don't know if I can pass a screening, and I don't know when. So I just, don't want to think about the future.